Ivan Temilkov here from RazorSharpDigital.com, a human marketing agency that helps brands forge their digital governance through human-to-human convergence. I wanted to hop on here real quick and talk about one thing that I think is absolutely intricate if you're in business or in the marketing industry specifically, and that is care. Excuse me. Care is the best marketing tactic there is. Care shows input, care shows effort. Let me explain. When you tell a client that you care, that means that you genuinely have to care about what it is that you're doing and you're pursuing of those endeavors. You follow through. The difference between my approach and everyone else's, and I get asked this question quite often, is Ivan, why are you different? Why is it that you push care, you push human business so much? How is that any different than anything else that other businesses, other marketing individuals, other marketing companies are doing? Let me explain. I actually sit down with my clients and I spend time to investigate and find out what it is that they need. What are their specific needs? So I actually do take that time to sit down and chat with them and find out what it is that they specifically are looking for. Are they trying to drive more leads, more phone calls, more contact forms to their website? Are they trying to figure out who their buyer persona is, who's buying their products, who's buying their services? Because believe it or not, there's a lot of companies out there who are incoherent to that. And it's quite surprising because I've run across some brands in the past that have been in business for a long period of time and they're still incapable of identifying who their buyer persona is. So the difference is in the approach. That's what care is investing the time upfront, doing upfront legwork, investigation of figuring out what it is that your clients are looking for. And these days, I don't really call my clients as clients, because they're really just relationships, because that is what you're forging. You are invoking a potential long-term relationship, and I think that's important to understand and how that plays into the long term as well. So the process is the care component, the how you do it, so the approach that you have. For instance, I have clients that I text with at 10 o'clock in the evening because, they might have a problem, or they may have an idea that they want to pursue. And so in other words, I'm at their disposal. So I'm very accessible. I'm very responsive. One other way that I express care that's different is that, for instance, I'm very quick at responding. Response is better than perfection. And I think especially a lot of marketing companies, a lot of businesses are striving to be more perfect than responsive. So with that being said, what I would encourage you guys to do is focus on caring more about your customers, focus on caring more about your prospects, and finding out what it is specifically that they're looking for. How can you address their needs? How can you make their experience better? Because an experience is something that every client looks for nowadays. How can you alleviate their pains? How can you put forth a strategy that's going to help them increase their business and make more money ultimately? And yes, that's a given. I mean, I think these are the fundamentals of business and marketing ultimately, but sitting down and having a much more diligent process to this is really the difference in this, is being able to articulate the things that you promise that you're going to do, and being able to deliver on things that you promise. Because I think the implementation and the execution of everything is really where a lot of companies fail. So again, to really bring this full circle, care is the best marketing tactic that there is. And I truly, really, really hope that a lot more companies would utilize care as a marketing tactic, because I think that they would see a significant difference in the way their customers engage with their products and services. And what I mean by care is, care can really, also to elaborate on this a little bit further, care can really be expanded a lot more. Care can be in the form of messaging. So the content that you have on your website, the social media messaging that you're sending out on your social channels, and how that engages on an emotional level. Now, before though you can do that, so talking about content and talking about emotional engagement, emotional intelligence, because that is something that I talk about with my business, and that is my different approach. Also, my competitive approach, I should say, is that you have to identify who your buyers are first and foremost. You have to know what it is that they want. How do they think? What are their demographics? How do they buy online? Also, so there's a lot of upfront research that you have to do. And typically, when I work with an ideal client, and this is usually a company that has a marketing team. Um, has done some form of digital marketing, integrated marketing in the past, and they're really trying to find that sweet spot. Now, those are some of the ideal customers. So, the one thing that I talk to them about is buyer persona, ensuring that they know who it is that they're selling to. And if they don't know who those individuals are, is helping them identify those buyer personas. And usually there's multiple different types of buyer personas. And what I mean by that is multiple buyer personas in the form of multiple individuals in different mindsets. So again, to bring this full circle one more time, care is the best marketing tactic, and I would encourage you guys to utilize that to the best of your abilities, whether it's through content, through visuals, through rich media, live streaming video, your website, whatever it might be that correlates to your brand. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this in the video below. When you get a chance, feel free to pop in, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Appreciate you.